Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is William Hemsworth. Great to be with you here, and great and absolutely excited to welcome our friend back, J.M. Kraemer of the Lego Church Project. He is not only an amazing person, amazing evangelist, he does some great work with disability awareness as well. And man, brother, how you been, man? It's been a long time.
Too long, my friend. I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Season 27 of the project. Now, we were talking off air a little bit. We started talking, we got acquainted on Twitter a long, long time ago. Way back in the
Yeah.
Twitter, not the X days, right?
Yeah, back when it was real.
Yeah, it's still Twitter to me. I don't care what anyone says. But man, I think it was season 21 is when we started talking, and now you're season 27. Time time's flying by.
Oh my
So tell me.
gosh, man, it's unbelievable sometimes to think that been doing this for so long.
Yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit about well, obviously, we're here to talk about your project, and you're in season 27, but can you tell us maybe take us back to the beginning and how this whole journey got started?
It's kind of funny because growing up, my friends were building spaceships and I wasn't good at it. And I lived like a couple doors down from the church for about 10 years over at St. Helens Parish, now known as Christ the Good Shepherd. And so it kind of developed from that. I was building these rudimentary structures that eventually turned into churches because that was the foundation of our family. We'd go to mass, we'd take part in activities. Excuse me for a second. And from there, what transformed it from the childhood thing to this ministry, this gradual transition to a ministry, is when I did my first display at Mount Zion in Flushing. Well, that was an amazing time. And then when it really started to get into full swing was when I did the first display at Christ the Good Shepherd back in 2003, season 4. My longest running ongoing display that has been unbroken so far. And in fact, I was just there with season 26. I will be there with season 27. Even during the pandemic, season 21, I was there. We had just gotten a new priest, and he felt that it was important to have some of the familiarity of the parish. And since this was part of the parish, it was important to have it out. And the new priest that we've had for a couple of years now, Father Coleman, he loves it. Him and his mom love it. They love what I'm doing with it. It was an easy yes for him when he took over. So I have been allowed to continue to do that display. And over the years, I've been to a lot of interesting parishes.
Yeah. No, and for those that don't follow John on Twitter, you really need to, because he puts pictures of these displays out, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention what's behind you. This is not a background. This is not a green screen. This is actual. That's the season 27 project, right?
Yep, with the lights on.
Okay. Now is the project modeled after any specific parish, or is this something that just comes into your mind?
Just something that comes into my mind. Inspired by the places that I've seen either in person or in photographs. There's always a lot of interesting details. I change it up from year to year. And it's kind of like the old Final Fantasy games. There was always those same mechanics, but it was a different story. And this one's kind of unique because there's a lot of differences that I've done, things I've never considered before. And there's a lot of the micro details. The statuaries are different than what I've done in the past. There's some stuff up in the balcony that I've done differently. A lot more translucent pieces inside, which creates its own set of challenges. But it also a different set of lights. And of course, it's always nerve-wracking when you're using new parts that you haven't tested out before. Because I'm also using new base plates this year because of a little bit of a problem from last season.
Now, for those that are wondering, obviously we see the outside. Now, inside though is a whole other ball game. I've seen pictures. If you follow on social media, you see the inside of these things. Can you tell us all the stuff that goes on the inside of these models as well?
This is about as accurate to a Catholic parish as you can get. I have priests, I have altar servers, I've got parishioners on the entire lower balcony is completely filled, and I'm slowly working on getting the upper balcony completely filled. Because the balcony here, you've got the back section, but also got two sides as well. So you've got people sitting all over the church. And it's kind of interesting when you're looking at it, especially when you see the photos that I take from like the doorway looking in. You kind of get a sense of just how massive this is. And it's even more when you're trying to build it. Because some sections alone take 8 to 10 hours, breaking it up over a couple of days to do like the floors. That's all the tile work is like one by one pieces put down. And there's no instructions. It's like I'm just kind of using what's on the top of my head and trying to figure out what is going where.
So how many pieces does one of these models normally take for you?
I would say a conservative estimate about 25,000.
Oh, wow.
With over 300 minifigures inside. I'd like to guesstimate about 320. And I'm sure when I'm doing one of my displays, there's going to be an ambitious kid who's going to want to sit and count all the figures.
My son would, I'm sure.
That's actually what happened one year. I was over at Assumption Parish, one of my favorite stops that I get to go back to later this year. One kid, much to the chagrin of his mother, started counting. And he would not leave until he had counted all the figures. Oh, but that's fun. It's always fun stuff to see like that. The kids get such a big reaction because it's big, it's Lego, and sometimes it's bigger than them. And then, of course, you get the adults who love it for what it is. They see the church full, they see themselves. Every year I get at least one person will say, "Oh, that's where I'm sitting." Or that person reminds me of someone that used to be at the church. And you have to figure, I've got representation of disability in there. I've got wheelchairs, I've got power chairs, I've got an adult stroller. Based on stuff that I've seen, I've got service dogs. There was a parishioner over at All Saints who has a service dog, and I've tried to bring that in as well. So there's a lot of interesting details in there that just one look through is not going to find all of it.
Now, over the course of one of your seasons, how long does a season last, and how many stops do you try to make?
The season is in two parts. First, you've got the build, which can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to build. The last couple ones have taken 6 weeks, give or take. Sometimes I can get it done in 5. This year, I beat that record. The previous record for a church of this size was 4 weeks. Yeah, I did this one in 3.
Oh, wow.
And I was trying to meet a deadline, which I did. But sometimes things don't always go according to plan. But
yeah.
But I have to say, though, I think that this one this particular build, compared to some of the other ones, went a lot smoother in the sense that I had a pretty clear vision early on of what I wanted to do, what I was trying to accomplish. And I really kind of just stayed in that framework, kind of taking a little bit of less is more approach to the build. And I think it worked out in my favor. Even trying to get stuff done in the time frame, because I had at least till the 27th to do it. And I was well within, I could have taken like 2 or 3 days and I still would have gotten done on time. 2 or 3 days off, but yet this looks beautiful. I'm using a new set of lights this year for the first time in like about 3 or 4 seasons. Which you always wonder if are they going to be bright enough? Are they going to work well? I had the project off this morning with all the main house lights off and just this on, and there's some sections that there's a little bit of a gap with the parts, just the nature of Lego, and the light was actually passing through the translucent pieces that were bricked in, and you normally don't get to see the light through those. So that's
Are these just Are these just regular lights that you buy like at Target, or are they like, does Lego have
Yeah,
their own? And forgive my
yeah.
ignorance because I don't
These
know.
are off the shelf Christmas tree lights. A 200 count, 200 count strand from Amazon.
Oh, okay.
I actually found a single strand, which is that kind of adds a little bit of an extra challenge when I'm trying to build. Because instead of having two different strands of like 100, you can take the top strand off, work around it. But no, at that point, you're going to be dealing with wire all over the place. But once again, the experience of doing this for so long, you kind of get used to figuring out problems as they develop, or as I call them, design issues.
Now, for any parishes that may be watching this video, what is something that you do what do you do at your displays?
What I will usually do, first off, you have the main portion of the display. I'm there. I've got the project there. I'm there to answer any questions. I'm there to talk to people. I'm there to engage. I'm also there to make sure that nothing actually really happens, or if something does, I can fix it on the fly. There are a couple windows that easily pop out by design. Better for a window to come out than the entire wall. But also, I will also give a little talk or a presentation, either just a basic overview of who I am, what I'm doing, why am I at your parish. Sometimes I'll highlight something else, depending on what the director of the parish life or the priest wants me to cover. If there's a specific part of the project he wants me to highlight more so than others, I can do that. A case in point is this past year, I was at Assumption Parish in Midland, Michigan, and the director wanted me to talk about vocations. And at the front of my project, I've got the three priests. I've got the senior priest who is retired, but he's still busy. I've got the priest who's currently serving, and I've just got the newly ordained who's just been thrown into the fire.
So you have a phrase, and we've talked about it in the past, praying with bricks.
Yes, praying at the bricks.
Praying at the bricks. My apologies. Can you explain what that is, if you could?
The basic element of it is, as I'm building, I am praying. I am taking everything that's going on around me, and as I'm working on the project, I am praying. I put everything into it. All my worries, my fears, the issues the concerns I have about the church, the concerns I have about friends and family. That gets transferred into what I'm doing. Because each part of the project is a reflection of my own life, my own walk. When the project is done, then I can sit with the project, next to the project, and pray like I would be praying at a church. And even then, with the churches that are built, a lot of them use stone. You're praying at the bricks, whether you realize it or not. But I've tried to turn this into an act of prayer. One of my personal goals with doing this, as I've gotten on in the years, is to have a reflection of my view on prayer and how important it is to me. I'm a very simplistic person, but I try and take a few moments every morning to pray for the intentions that are going on before I get too far into the day. Concerns, praying for our parishes, praying for our priests, praying for those who are very venomous when it comes to the Catholic Church. As you certainly probably run into more than a few especially on Twitter.
Oh, sure. And they're becoming more and more on Facebook too. But
oh, yeah. It's like, I don't have time or energy to outright engage them. I will sometimes ask them questions because I like to see where people are at. If you've got someone who is like throwing venom at us, and if they're not willing to pray, or if they'll say, I don't have to tell you that, that says more to me about your walk with Christ than anything else. Because if I see a prayer request, even if I don't recall it later on, I will mention something about it. I will pray for that person regardless of where they're from, regardless of what faith they may subscribe to. That's who I am. And that's what I encourage others to do. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's what we're called to do as well, though.
Yeah, you don't get to decide which prayer requests you acknowledge and which ones you ignore.
Right.
And I think it'd be nice if some of the Protestant brothers and sisters would see that. But they're so wrapped up in their venom. They're so wrapped up, they're so busy trying to dunk on Catholics that they're missing the point.
Sure, and likewise, we have some of our Catholic brothers and sisters who are
Oh yeah.
so dedicated to winning the argument that they start throwing that venom back,
Yeah, they
and
start, we lose the
they
plot.
could be equally as damaging.
It makes our job a lot more difficult when they start doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for someone watching this, they're looking at your project, and well, I guess what are some of the conversations you've had at parishes? I know in the past you've told some great stories of evangelization, things like that. Can you share some of those stories that you've encountered?
Yeah, there was. I'm trying to think now. There was, when I was Nativity of the Lord in, trying to think which place it was. I forgot the location. St. Louis, Michigan area. A woman brought up her 5-year-old grandson. She told me that he had cerebral palsy and that my mission, because I've got a malformed cerebral palsy myself, I can relate to that. She said that I gave them hope. And everything ties into that mission. No matter what challenge or disability you face, God can still use your talents. And I've seen people that have brought their kids over to see this. I've seen run into people that have disabilities and they take a look at my work. So there's always a joy in that when I can touch someone's heart and to show them that, yes, you have challenges, but you have a place in our parishes.
For sure. Now you mentioned within your displays that you have people depicted with disabilities, things like that. Is that something you've always had in your displays, or is that something that's morphed as time has gone on?
It's slowly developed. As Lego has released more options, if I can get my hands on the figures, they'll be included. I've got people with hearing aids, cochlear implants. I've got people in wheelchairs. I've got different representations of disability. There may be someone in there that may be fighting cancer. We don't always know what someone's story is. I believe I've got a kid in there with headphones, which is a common element with certain people that have autism.
Right.
Uh, I try and include what I can, and then I leave everyone else to their own imagination of what they may see inside. I don't
So
have to
what
include
event?
everything. I don't have to include everything, but just enough to give that mind the little push it needs to see.
Oh, of course. I think you've done a great job with that. And so what opportunities do you have coming up with a project as far as displaying in parishes go?
Well, I'm always looking for parishes willing to reach out. I'm in the Saginaw Township, Michigan region, and I will go to any parish that can provide the transportation and other considerations depending on where it's at. I don't charge to do these displays. Sometimes a parish will offer a stipend, but that's not why I do this. Some of the parishes I visit, it kind of depends from season to season. The last couple years, I've been visiting Assumption Parish in Midland. I think this will be my 5th year with them. Of course, my annual Advent Christmas display that's going to be going on for 23 years over at Christ the Good Shepherd. Always a fun time. It's like one of the most laid back displays that I have because it's like over the course of several weeks. So it gives people plenty of time to stop out to see our beautiful community. This year, I'm going back out to All Saints in Bay City. I was there last year. I'm going to be out here this year again. Father Jose, wonderful priest. If you can find him on YouTube, I have to give a plug because he's always been one of my big fans. He's always been one of my big supporters. If there's a way for him to bring me out, he will try and do so. And I've visited quite a few other parishes over the years. I've visited parishes up in Gladwin, in Harrison, which is like about an hour away. A couple of years ago, I did Standish. Interesting story with that one is the priest that was there at the time before he retired was one of the priests that was at Christ the Good Shepherd. So he knew about my work. So I got to go visit one of his parishes and see him for the first time in ages. It was a beautiful time.
Good deal. Now I have to ask this. Looking at the display behind you, this huge display, 25,000 Legos. How do you transport this thing without it breaking?
Very carefully. What you do is you load it on a coffee cart because it's not sitting on a plywood board and it's screwed down at 4 points. 2 of them you can see, 2 of them you can't because they're in the areas of the bell tower.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 people can lift it, put it on a coffee cart, wheel it out to the vehicle. It will fit in most SUVs. Sometimes I have to take the bell towers off. It just kind of depends on what vehicle they have. I'm a little bit flexible on that, and I'm always looking for unique opportunities because I've been doing this for so long. I've had the chance to go on a lot of programs. Yours, Sunrise Morning, which has been a frequent stop of mine the last couple of years.
Shout out to Matt Swaim, good friend, good friend.
Oh yes, yeah. Matt has been such a big supporter. He tries to get me on his show when he can. And I really love doing those kind of things. Sitting here talking, I love doing that. It's so much fun. And there's always parishes that I have in the back of my mind of where I would like to go visit because I think they're interesting buildings, but I also think they're interesting communities. I want to see the communities. I want to learn about what we're doing here, what's going on, how are things working out, and take some of that and incorporate it into my work, either in the building or just in how I present things.
So, walk us through what happens when the season is finally over.
Oh man, I get it back from Christ the Good Shepherd, usually after the baptism of the Lord. And then I start taking this apart brick by brick. And it will take at least a minimum of 3 days over the course of a total of about 8 to 10 hours.
Wow.
Some things get saved and repurposed later on, but for the most part, it gets dismantled. And people are usually kind of shocked when I start telling them that part.
So you dismantle this project that you just spent a great amount of time doing. When does the next season begin?
Usually within about 2 to 3 weeks after the teardown. I usually try and start around first week of February, but if we get like a Michigan snowstorm and I'm in the creative mood, I can start it early if I need to. I've done that before.
So it's just enough time for you to take a little deep breath, relax, and then boom, you're just right there. So
Yeah,
how
but I
does
love that.
the
love the
inspiration
challenge of
come
it.
for the next season?
Yeah, I love the challenge. The inspiration it's through a lot of prayer. It truly is. I'm always seeking prayer. I'm always seeking the Lord. What do you want me to do, Lord? How do you want me to do this? This year had a unique focus. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to keep the project in the framework, but not be afraid to bend the rules just a little bit. I think one of the biggest differences from the last couple of years has just been the more elaborate tabernacle. It has gotten more elaborate. There's like a gate now. People see the gate closed all the time, but in reality, it can actually open.
Cool.
Yeah, and this year I redid all the main stuff that's on the altar itself. I redid the table. I redid the ambo. I've got a spot for the interpreter, sign language interpreter. That was a feature I added a couple years ago at the suggestion of someone else I was talking to. And I've also didn't redo the organ this year, even though that's been like one of my favorite features on there. Actually, fun little fact: the top row of choir in the organist and that first row of people there are based on the actual choir at our parish.
Do they know this?
Yes.
All
And
right.
I actually showed a picture to someone that knew our organist, Dave Hammond, who's our music director at Christ the Good Shepherd. And he saw the figure. He goes, "Oh, that's Dave." And in fact, it was so funny because when Dave first saw it, we had one of our priests there who was there on a Thursday night for some reason, and Dave had me pull out the phone and showed him a picture. So, yeah, the choir knows that they're included, but I do that. I put real people inside the project. I'm sitting inside the project. I've got all kinds of weird little details like cats, kids. I've got I've got picture this year. I don't know where I put it. I'll probably post it later. I've got a baby with a space helmet on, looking like he's ready to do battle with the cat. He's having a stare down competition with one of the cats. And then I think I've got the other cat on the main floor having another staring contest.
Now, have you always had parishioners inside the displays?
Uh yeah, to a degree, but it's one of those things that kind of developed over time. I think season 5 was the first time I ever tried to do an elaborate interior detail. So that really kind of took things up to another level with it. In fact, that's where I got the what I call the Grand Cross design, which that too has also evolved over the years. I've had a couple different interpretations of it to where it's currently at right now with the translucent red and yellow combination. The other feature that's like a constant theme is this massive roof cross. And if you ever look at my profile picture on Twitter, you'll see me holding a version of that.
Mm-hmm.
That thing weighs about 2 pounds in its own right and can survive unscathed off a fall off a table, which actually happened.
I say, I take it you have some experience with that.
Oh yes, oh yes, yeah. I had some work. I had some people in here working on my internet, and it was sitting on my back table over here where I've got a bunch of trays and stuff, and it just slid down and fell down. No damage.
Well, thank God for that. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah, and sometimes disasters happen. We came back from All Saints, and unfortunately, I didn't screw the base plates down tight enough. And the poor father had to take an evasive reaction, and there was some damage inside that I had to fix. The problem was that because of where it's at, it's like trying to fix the alternator in your car. Getting to it's going to take longer than the actual repair itself. But we're set and ready to go, and it worked out. I sent him a picture afterwards saying, all fixed.
I'm sure he was relieved.
Yes, he was. And he's also relieved the fact that I've got the project screwed down to the base plates better this time. And actually, that was really nice. One of our parishioners from the church knew about my problem with that and offered to help me get that set up. So that's kind of nice. And new base plates this year, new lights, some new designs. I'm really happy. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. The main challenge right now is this is not meant to be hidden here. This is meant to be out showed with everyone.
How much room does this take up in your home?
A good chunk of my living room.
Okay.
All
right, so everyone, we need to get this thing in churches. So like spread the word.
Yeah, actually, if you go up on Substack on my main feed for Praying at the Bricks, I did a video series once a week talking about the build. So people were seeing as I was going along. I was doing live streams. My first time doing live streams on my own. I'm usually the guest. I'm usually not my own host. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing those, and people got to see the process a little bit firsthand. I got to talk about what I was doing. But yeah, this thing takes up most of my living room. I've got a folding table set up, and I've got chairs that I sit down at while I'm working, looking out the window.
Amazing work. I mean, I'm looking at it here, and I'm way here in Tucson, Arizona. You're in Michigan, and this thing, just on the little screen I'm looking at, looks absolutely massive.
It is.
Now, I have to ask, what opportunities for evangelism has this given you?
It gives me to talk about disability. Most people don't realize that I have a disability until I tell them. Disability takes on many forms and in many layers. And with me, some of it is just more about learning how to navigate life and adapting to what's going on. Whether it means I just walk a little slower, a little more carefully because my balance is shot. Means taking into consideration, like when I go to the store and stuff, I have to use an Amigo because I can't keep my balance. Pushing a cart throughout an entire store puts a lot of strain on my joints. And of course, with every time I fall, I do more damage and it takes a lot longer for me to heal. And unfortunately, some of the damage remains. You don't always know what that damage is until you try and do something.
Right.
And that's a challenge. So people are kind of surprised because I'm not an architect. I didn't advance much in school. I mean, I made it through high school and that was about it. So I'm not trained to do this. This is all off the top of my head. Involves a lot of counting, a lot of math mentally to get all the counts right because I have a set format that I use. But it works.
27 seasons, you're doing something right, my friend. Where can our listeners learn more about what you're doing and where can they follow you?
They can follow me on Facebook under Lego Church Project, on Substack, Praying at the Bricks. You can find me on Substack Notes every so often. I'll post up on there. I also tend to post a lot of blog articles. I share a lot of links to blog articles that I've written on there. And then I also, on the Facebook page, I'll take one of my articles, whether it's a new one or an older one, and I'll put it up on every Friday morning. Usually gets released about 10 o'clock on Friday mornings. I usually set those about a week or two in advance.
Good deal. Well, thank you for joining us and talking to us about your project. Now, if churches want to get hold of you for displays, how can they contact you?
They can contact me at my email address. They can contact me kc8wzm@gmail. There's also contact information on my Facebook page, which does have my phone number. I am currently looking for bookings between now and May, or now and the end of May, and then after that, in between up until November. November and December are booked because of previous commitments, but there's plenty of weekends. And if you'd like a lot more information or if you got questions, let me know. I mean, I'm more than happy to talk to you guys, especially about how to bring the project out. What are my needs? Once again, I don't charge for this. This is not about money. This is about sharing the talents that God has given me with everyone around me. And there's always one or two parishes that I always have in the back of my mind of where I would really like to visit, but that's in the hands of God.
All right. So if you're interested, please reach out to John. He's doing amazing stuff out there. I know the kids would absolutely love it. The kids in my parish would freak out if they saw this thing. So John, hey, buddy, thank you so much for everything you're doing, man. God bless you. And thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for allowing me to come on. Now we just have to talk to Matt.
Yeah, and this is an inside joke I'll let everyone know on. Matt of Journey Home Network and EWTN. That's where the Sunrise Morning Show is. He has John as a frequent guest, and there's this joke that we have saying, "Matt, I got John one more time than you," and he said, "You're going down, Hemsworth." So, Matt, come on, get John on.
Oh yeah, I always tell everyone it's like there's two hosts that have interviewed me the most times, you and Matt, and I love doing that though. I love the opportunity to talk, to share. It really does. It does amazing things for me to be able to explain what's going on. And now that I've got this set up, I can show people what I'm doing. It's one thing to talk about it, but something else to show it.
Yeah, that's right there. Well, John, I'm gonna let you go for the evening. Enjoy. Best of luck with the rest of the season. Thanks for coming back on with me, man. It's a blast catching up with you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. God bless.
God bless you.